Wengine walikuwa wanafikiri sijui Ruto na group gani sijui na nani watapinga. Sasa kama Wakenya wote walikubali mambo ya BBI, hii siasa sasa na mobilization hii yote na hii campaign yote ni ya kushawishi nani? Ndio kuwe na sababu ya kutumia pesa ya umma ati kufanya campaign ya report ambayo haina pingamizi. There are people who are dissatisfied with the BBI report and they are hiding behind this campaign because they want to introduce another report or they want to change the BBI report because they don't support it. And they are now using this so-called popularization. So people must be honest. If you have a problem with the BBI report, because you want things to be put there, because you want additional seats or additional whatever you want to put there, be honest.
Ingine inapangwa ajifanyike kule Kakamega. Ile kongamano ya Kisii wametumia shilingi milioni 50. Mimi nauliza hii pesa ambayo wanatumia kwa hii kongamano inatoka wapi? Na mbona haiwezi kumsaidia mwananchi wa kawaida ambaye anatafuta huduma kutoka kwa serikali?
Hakuna kitabu hata kimoja leo ambayo hao watu wanaweza kusoma. 10 bilioni ilitumika kwa njia gani? Kama ni audit, kama ni corruption, hapo ndio corruption.
The president told us, sisi tusome kitabu hiyo ya BBI tujiamulie sisi wenyewe. Lakini sasa watu wa ODM wanataka kutumia hiyo kupanga njama ya vile wataanza kuongeleza wa Kenya kwa mpango yao ya 2022. Na hiyo hatuwezi kukubali.
All right, we'll get back to the voices of Raila Odinga and other leaders that have been speaking about this also. But first, let's contextualize what they are saying. And Tim, I see you smiling. I don't know why. But we hear the Deputy President raising questions about the money that is being spent for this. And he raises a valid question. Who is financing this? Because what we are seeing is a gathering of politicians as well as the senior civil servants, talking about the Cabinet Secretary of Interior Affairs, Fred Matiang'i. Who is financing this and where is it coming from? Was it budgeted?
What I'm also want to ask is the Deputy President telling us that he's no longer part of government? The people as accusing are not in government.
He's still the Deputy President, but the questions he raises actually raises that question that you're talking about.
The people as accusing are not in government. How are they being financed by the government?
So who is financing these meetings?
Who is financing the meeting? I don't know, but he should tell us, because if the government is financing, he should know. They are the insiders. We are the outsiders. We are still opposition. Let me remind everybody. We are not part of government. ODM is being accused left and right center. We are still in the opposition. If I go to a meeting arranged by a council of governors, it means maybe they have some source of financing that meeting. Because the meeting in Kisii was actually a meeting of the regional county governments. It wasn't really a BBI a meeting.
Yes. And Anthony Oloch, you said that you are the event in Kisii, and even as you respond to the question of who is financing this and how much is it, what is the structure of this forum? Because there was one over the weekend, I believe it was on Friday in Kisii. There will be another one on the 18th that will be in Kakamega. What is the structure of this forum? Once you have a sitting, you discuss, then where do you take the information you have deliberated on from there?
Let me pick from the structure that was used by the BBI just before they came up with the report. There are two ways in which you could get your recommendations to the BBI. One was a forum organized, and I did attend one that was called for Nairobi County at the National Theatre. That was one way in which they actually publicized, this is our calendar, we are going to be here. And I foresee a situation in which once they've regazetted, that there will be public forums publicized for them to call public meetings for further recommendations. The other way was by way of memorandum. And you remember there were the people who couldn't attend, and this goes for Parliament as well. Public participation is usually publicized in terms of, we shall be here on this particular day, bring your views, and you can send your memorandum. So the structure of the BBI at Kisii, in the absence of a gazetted task force, would take the form of the resolutions of that public meeting anchored under Article 108 and the County Government Act that allows public participation. Those recommendations and resolutions can be sent to the BBI to be able to act on. So that is the structure.
Yet it's not yet gazetted.
It doesn't have to. The timing of what views you have had, it does not say that the only views that will go to BBI will be those views that begin when they are gazetted.
I'm asking that because, Anthony Loch, you and I know that in the absence of the task force being gazetted, then nobody has or can solicit for such kind of participation or for such fora. So how again?
That's not true.
How do you work?
That's not true. And let me rephrase what Senator Orengo said at that particular forum. That in the process of all this, we must always remember that there are two words that he used, two operative words. That in respect of the word authority, it is used that Parliament has the authority, judiciary and executive have the authority. But the word power is only used in Article 1 and 2 in reference to the people. Their sovereign power is always unalterable and inalienable. It is not time-bound. The people of Kenya can always debate and discuss what they want to do about the things that affect them outside of the confines of the BBI task force. And allow me to just develop this point to its conclusion. This misconception that BBI must be either gazetted or not gazetted for us to have this conversation on how we govern ourselves is misconceived. If you read Article 1 of the Constitution, this is a constant conversation. And we could even take things that we said from 2010 up to now and say, for example, this is what we've been saying about historical injustices. The people of Costa brought that on the table. You cannot say that all the things they have been saying over the last 10 years, they cannot bring to BBI. They can only begin to discuss them when they are gazetted.
Okay.
Then I just wanted to make the last point on this, on the issue of the taxpayers' money. Number one, the structure of how this is being used. One, it is under the whole concept of public participation. County government is perfectly in order to be able to use public resources under public participation. And you will remember, county governments are a key stakeholder. They are trying to get 35 or 45% increment out of this referendum. They are a key stakeholder. And for that reason, they are expending their time and their resources to come and get the money. The national government also is a key stakeholder. When the structure of government changes and the money that national government controls, they can use their public resources. The last point I want to make about this is this. The Deputy President sits in Cabinet. Deputy President, you chair the intergovernmental forum that deals with relations between county governments. You haven't called the county government forum and asked them, how are you doing these resources? Have you raised this in Cabinet? How can you be raising things that your boss has sanctioned at a public baraza and questioning things that you could raise at Cabinet and raise at the intergovernmental forum?
But is there a conducive environment for such kind of questions? And I want to take it away to Isaac Mwaura. You want to go?
No, it's all right.
All right. So even as he alludes to the divide within government, talking about the structure of the public forum, what should you take as the people? What should you take? Because in as much as he says that the people are free to organize, these are being organized by politicians and senior civil servants.
You know, I was listening to people yesterday on the ground, and they are saying there is no medicine in hospitals. You can see even the Daily Nation is showing that pneumonia has come back. The youth do not have jobs, issues to do with lighting so that you can have a 24-hour economy as was promised. Issues of women getting, credit for their businesses, bursaries, and of course, projects that would help people. These are the concerns of the common Wanyonyi. And they're actually asking, there's a lot of confusion on the ground on what does this BBI mean. That's the truth. And people are wondering, they say they have not seen the document. Then I tell them it's already on WhatsApp, it's circulating, said, can you tell us do you need an email? So people are very, very confused. And it is actually true, I can say, Sam, that this whole shenanigans is about us politicians at times. Because you cannot encapsulate all the problems of the country by having a weak or a powerful premier. Like we in Central Kenya are very keen on ensuring that our votes count, and we will stand by that. And that cannot be, reduced. This minimalist approach
The BBI report is very good, and I have even written articles. I am a columnist with the Star every weekend, where I supported it. But then, there's that issue of why has the food been returned to the kitchen? Does it have some ingredient that's missing? We said one man, one vote. And when we said one man, one vote, we were very happy because there must be hierarchy. There must be hierarchy from the president to the deputy to the premier. And when you look at the premier, Zizi, before you interject with a question, even the position of the deputy president is a very weak position. By the way, very, very weak. Any occupant around this table who is aspiring, and we are all ambitious, we realize that that is nothing more than just an assistant to the president. It's only that the current occupant, by his sheer force of personality, he has been able to make that position look very big and very powerful. Now, and in the first term of Uhuruto, we saw like Uhuru leaned back and allowed Ruto to do the show. But now in the second term, we are seeing a more vociferous, vibrant Uhuru, of course with Raila on this side, and then of course Uhuru says don't do campaigns. Then Ruto is ambitious for 2022, and the young politicians who are also ambitious. Then Matiang'i is brought in as kind of like the one to help in the kazi ya mkono. That is now the politics of it. It's not really about the letter and spirit of the constitution as Oluoch is saying. And in fact, it appears ODM now knows more about Jubilee and the bedroom politics. We were told there is somebody's bedroom. It appears ODM seems to know more about the bedroom affairs of Jubilee than Jubilee members themselves. In fact, when you listen to the language of Moses Kuria, Kimani Gojiri and others, it sounds more like opposition. That premier position you're saying, do you think at the end of the day it should be elective? Decided through an elective or the president? Zinzi, we in Central Kenya cannot want a parliamentary system because we are already disadvantaged. And, we cannot belabor the point, like where I come from in Ruiru, we are now the highest, the constituency with the highest number of residents, 374,000. One constituency. We have 160,000 voters, the second highest after tThere, which is 166. Even if you were to have a parliamentary system, where will we get the members? Because we are disproportionately represented. In Laikipia, next to your constituency, because I was there on Tuesday, they have a ward that has got 40,000 voters, Iguamete ward. I'm sure you've heard about it. Compared to Laikipia North, where the whole constituency has got 20,000 voters. So when you talk about issues of representation, certainly certain regions have better representation than others, and that impinges on who becomes the premier. Beth Mogo has gone on record, and saying that you cannot have two centers of power. So even in terms of hierarchy, even when you are creating the position of prime minister, you have models from Uganda, you have models from Tanzania, you have the model from France. You've got to make sure that there is some hierarchy, so that even if we politicians aspire to occupy those positions, but do not create acrimony within government by dint of saying that you're uniting people through a BBI initiative that creates such positions. So it is really not something that it's a copy and cut and paste. The other thing that I also want to say is that please do not forget that there is a generational struggle here. Between older politicians and who they are aligned to, and the younger politicians who could still be in political diaper. These people are competing for who is going to occupy what. No, that's the truth.
Let's take a look at some of the resolutions that were reached in Kisii in form of the slides that we have after that meeting that was attended by Raila Odinga as well as the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Interior Affairs. One of the things is that allocate at least 35% of last audited national revenue to counties. Use wards as the basis for resource allocation and development. And then the second one is, if you can have a look at that, this is on divisive elections. We're doing away with the first past the post electoral system. The report unequivocally recommend a proportional representation electoral system. How they will achieve that is still a question that is out there waiting for answers. But looking at this conversation, William Kamketi, even as we wait for these resolutions to be found, that question of structure, in your view, do you think the meetings in Kisii, the one that will be in Kakamega this weekend, what will they yield? Is it just political good feel, or is it intended to us something?
Public participation is public participation. It's about listening to the people, and it's about So the question of the structure is already, there is a structure that is already, the BBI report is a working document. It is not final. That's what we were told. That's what it is actually. It's a working report. It's a working document. So the kind of conversations that are going on now, right? It's about, we are talking about what has been put in the report and what other people feel that may not have been captured and what they feel that remember, I came up with a bill to amend the constitution. I think I was at first to bring a very
how far is it now?
Comprehensive bill, and my proposal was a bit radical, and I had proposed that we go fully parliamentary. But my bill suffered power games in Parliament. But it has come now through this BBI. I'm vindicated that there was a need for to amend the constitution and to accommodate more Kenyans in positions of power, because the current situation is not tenable at all. But listening to Mwaura here, I hear him. I feel what they are saying, that people of Central cannot allow the more populous communities of Kenya will not allow a parliamentary system of government because they feel underrepresented. That's okay. I feel them. But those of us also who come from the smaller communities in this country feel that the contest for leadership in this country has always been a contest between the larger populations.
Right. So
how else then do we access? How will a Pokot like me, Pokot man or woman, become president of this republic if an election is a tribal census? You understand? How many Pokots are there in the republic? So we have to be fair to each other. And looking at the structure now proposed by BBI, I think even if I was personally for the strict parliamentary system of government, which has worked all over the world, I am comfortable with the hybrid that has been proposed by BBI, and I'm comfortable with the structure that has been proposed, and I think it will work.
So how will Kenyans then, Honorable Kamket, be able to give their voices on this structure that is being recommended and other things within the BBI if majority of Kenyans do not feel as if they've participated in this BBI? I'll give you an example. How many rural Kenyans have read and understood the BBI? 1. 2, the fact that we are returning the food, as Isaac is saying, back to the kitchen says a lot, because what is it that we are looking for? What is it that you as legislators are looking for? Number 3, you talked about the sort of different generational split in politics. Think about it from now a larger population, citizens. Research was showing that people between the ages of 18 to 24, Kenya's youth, haven't even read or understood the BBI. So how is it that Kenyans will participate in this process that they haven't read or understood or even felt like they've been part of it?
This is the time, beginning this year, January, this is the time that we are going to bring many of those Kenyans who have not read this report or who have not had time. This is the period, because this is a period of public participation.
Will we be able to meet the deadline?
The first period was more or less technical.
Right.
Okay, we had a technical team or a team of elders going around the country, getting some people here and there. But now, when leaders, elected officials, come together and go into rallies, into town hall meetings, this is the time now to publicize this document. This is the time. And therefore, I believe that whatever is missing, whatever they have not had, this is the period of public participation. And this is the time Kenyans will get to know and will get to participate in this debate.
Will we though hit that timeline that Senator Orengo is talking about? That if for BBI to then June, July.
Senator Orengo can have his views about timelines. Everybody can have their views about timelines. But what I'm saying is this: this is the time to actually participate in this debate.